is going on, guys? I hope y'all are having a wonderful day today. We are here with Mr. Todd Abrams, the CEO of Icon Meals, and he is going to tell you all about the dad bod, why you need to cut that shit out, why the dad bod is no longer going to exist. This dude is about 6'6", sheer lean muscle. He's a lean, mean fighting machine. He's going to change your life, and we're glad to have Todd here on the show. So, Todd, thanks for coming out today.
Awesome. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we're going to do this because we're doing a joint podcast now, so this is cool. This is new for us, but hey, Rachel, let's hit him with the first question. What do you got? What are we thinking for Mr. Abrams?
Well, I've known you for quite a while, working with Icon Meals and nutrition. Since I've met you, you've been pretty lean and shredded, but I've seen quite a bit of your transformation photos over the last few years, and I want to hear about your whole transformation. I did a little bit of research, of course, beyond what I know about you, and going back to seeing you used to weigh 225, correct?
I weigh 225 now. I weighed back then probably close to 250.
250.
But a different 250.
Different 250, yeah.
Much different.
We'll have to post that before.
I know, right?
Because I showed Jimmy that transformation photo, and it is incredible.
It's actually interesting because we were talking about training before, but it's in train this month. It has a full 2-page transformation from me, and I haven't even seen it yet. But so that goes way back to when I was 250, but 250 with a 38-inch waist and stuff. So a lot different.
Golly, that sounds like me.
Yeah.
So how old were you, or how long ago was it when you were at your max, which was 250?
Yeah, so I've always been like growing up. I played sports and stuff all the time, but still I was much different, right? So back then they used to call me lumpy in high school and stuff. So it was probably 230, 240. But then going into when I was playing more junior hockey and sort of the partying and drinking stuff, that was when more 240, 250. And that was at my highest, probably about 250, 255. But again, a lot different if you've seen the photos, right? A lot of baby fat, chubby, whatever. Yeah. But again, walking around with much different proportions. So.
We all have those fat kid moments, right?
No.
No. Oh, sorry.
But that's pretty much my youth. I wasn't never unhappy and stuff. It just I wouldn't say probably was overweight, but not to the point of what I would call obese or anything as such. It's just I didn't really pay attention to diet. I ate whatever I wanted and thought, hey, you're in the gym, right? Those calories got to go somewhere. So that was sort of the mindset, and then being active, playing hockey and stuff. But again, the partying and drinking and other stuff didn't help and contributed to that as well.
So you were an athlete, and you said you played hockey. You lived in kind of Canada, that's where you're from. You guys can hear that accent.
Say Canada again. Canada?
Me?
Canada?
I'm from Minnesota.
Oh
my gosh, I love it. I love it. But you're obviously very, very active. But so looking at this is what I like to talk about my clients all the time is a lot of people think that they can just work out or they can out-train their diet. And like you said, you were pretty active, but it was mainly your diet and it was maybe drinking or partying and all of that. So at what point in your life did you decide to transition and to focus more on nutrition? Was there like a wake-up call type moment? I want to hear a little bit more in depth as to what really transitioned that life, because I feel like there has to be, for most people, something pretty substantial to allow someone or to make someone, give them that drive to want to change their life.
Yeah, I think you're correct. I think it was, I'll call it a defining moment for me. So when I was, I guess 18, going to 19 would be the first side. I was supposed to go play hockey in Northern Canada. I was going to Sudbury and play for up there. And that summer I got mono, but I got severe mono to the point where I was in the hospital, intensive care, basically bedridden for 21 days. Like almost had to get tracheotomy and stuff. It was like pretty bad. One person allowed in the room, etc. But when I came out of there, I'd lost 42 pounds in literally 43 pounds in 20 days. And it was like total where I'd lost 3 inches off my waist, like 1.5 inches off my arms, 2 inches off my legs. So sort of the plan to go play hockey and stuff was not happening because just muscle and everything broken down. But again,
it wasn't just fat.
It wasn't just that point, because when you're sitting in a hospital bed, not taking any calories in on morphine and everything else, right? Bed rest. You're pretty much, it's different. So from that standpoint is when I think the first thing was when I came into that hospital, going into that hospital weighing almost 250, coming into that hospital weighing 210 or whatever. So from that point, I never really, I would say, put on weight because I went to college that year, university in Canada. And sure, partying and stuff, but again, never that weight, right? So when I went to college, I started working out more, was playing hockey, was trying to put muscle back on, etc. And again, just sort of from there, the transformation, I think it was a sort of tipping point in my mind that, hey, I don't want to be the fat kid, right? Like moving forward.
Don't want to be lumpy
Anymore. But also when you go into a different environment, so that was the first time I'd say more like when you got into the university, you had, hey, you're the new kid, but all of a sudden there's all these fit people working in this huge gym and different things, right? I always followed like bodybuilding and hey, I wanted that body. Like it's funny because the people who are my really good friends right now, like Michael Hearn, David Moore, and like I was gonna put this post up a couple weeks ago, I never said this. So there's 6 people in there, one of them was Greg Plitt as well. And those were like my idols back then, right? Well, 5 out of those 6 people I'm great friends with right now.
Now that people used to surround yourself with. Yeah.
And that's totally funny. Like Michael Hearn, he's the godfather for Titan and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, so great relationships with like not just them, but the families and stuff too. So it's totally different. But moving forward from there is when I sort of started more time, got out of college. In college, I wasn't really like super ripped and stuff, but I was never fat, right? I was drinking, but not like ever excessively and stuff. Starting to watch more what I ate, okay? And then came from college sort of down here after a year. So
went to the States?
Yeah, so I've never worked for anyone, so I've had like a couple other businesses. I got down here actually working for a company that I was running in Toronto. Came down here to I went to Montreal first and then came down here looking for a US headquarters. And that's why I ended up down here in 97. So since 98, I've had my own other 3 businesses down here, just never went back. But it's not really, I'd say, my journey or transformation more mentally and more on the diet side, it's later in life for me. It's not really happened until I'll call it 35, sort of. I still remember, made the decision, I think it was 2012 or whatever, it was like New Year's Eve, so 2011 into 2012, it's like, hey, I'm not going to drink anymore, I'm going to do, for some reason, I'm going to do a physique show. And everyone's like, what the hell are you talking about? You're like,
yeah.
And that was like when Steve Clark and all these guys were on stage, Jason Poston was just starting, and it's like, I went and did West Texas, so if you look back, you'll find a crazy picture, like, it's weird, because when you shred down, I've always had abs, right? But that's because of the training I did in hockey with heavy deadlifts, all this core stuff.
Sure.
So, little skinny guy in West Texas, and then I went and thought, okay, this is pretty cool, and I got my butt kicked, and then I did another show in Oklahoma, and the 3rd show I got to Nationals, whatever, I went to Pittsburgh, and got my pro card in the first time, and it was Masters, so I just turned 35. But that was the transition of 2012, was then, okay, like, wow, I got my pro card, these guys I don't look like something has to totally shift, right? So from 2012 was really when I'd say, hey, macros, diet, nutrition, like my protein ratios, all that was really when I paid attention. So before that I was like, I'll call it dabbling, not toe in. I knew, I just hadn't educated myself, and I think my ego was like the little bit of a check. I started learning more, surrounding myself with different people, and so from 35 years old, me being 45 now, it's only really been 10 years. So when people say, holy crap, like I'm 40 years old, or I'm 45, or I'm 35, and I'm this and that, I'm like, you guys are just getting started, right? And that's true for not only fitness, but I think business. If you look at the most successful people, some of the biggest breakthroughs and some of the most wealthiest people haven't hit their prime until 40, 45, 50, and even later in life, right?
Everyone always just sees that end goal, that end shredded physique, or they see that thriving business, and I think it's just like overnight success. But like you said, it took you 10 years to get you where you are today.
And look, they always say like magic pill or steroids or this and that. Look, I've taken lots of magic pills, not like not as far as PEDs and stuff. I'm talking about like, hey, the fat burners and this and that are going to make you this and that, and it's to the point where there's nothing happens overnight. But I say you can make that cycle a lot shorter if you really understand the core principles, right, of diet, of nutrition. Like if you were to sit down, like even with yourself, but even with someone like Biolane, right, you can literally sit with Biolane for a month and come out with a totally different physique if you implemented the science behind it, right? But people don't want to pay that price to learn, and they just want the quickest fix. We can have a quick fix, but you got to put in the work, right?
Absolutely.
And so I learned a lot more of that. I embedded myself with that, and I think that's when the mindset shifted. Because the mindset shift for me was, if you can be successful in one area of life, and Andy Frisella is big on this, right? Like, if you can make $100 million, then you should be able to have 3% body fat if that's what you want. Because the principles that it took you to do that in business, or vice versa, right? If you can get 4% body fat, you should be to make $100 million if you apply the same principles. And people don't put that correlation together. And that's where I think is a big shift for me. So it's the principles of one apply to all areas. And that's really helped me, I think, move forward, not only my fitness journey, but just in general life. And that was a big shift, sort of, hey, that 18-year-old in bed to going to college to having kids and other
Yes.
things is sort of, and it's a little bit different. Like I've been married a long time, right? So I never had like, I went sort of college, married, quick, and to where I am today. But so a lot of, I think, growing up in different maturity and mindset as well.
Yeah, I think you said so many great points there that I would love to touch base on, but
There's a
like,
lot of good stuff.
just with the whole not happening overnight, everyone wanting a quick fix, something I always talk about is kicking into that low gear. Like when everyone starts a new diet or a new business, it's so easy to get excited and to, put everything in it, but then what happens after a couple of weeks? It just kind of slowly fades, and they kind of fall back into old diet habits. They stop doing the same workouts that they were doing, and then they just get lazy. They just fall back into their old habits. But when truly successful people, they kind of kick into that low gear. So not that high gear, they kick into that low gear, and they just go for 5 to 10 to 15 years.
Well, you have to be your like, a lot of people I think look for outside motivation and stuff, right?
Yes.
And it has to come from within.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you ask, I know we'll talk about this later, but like, hey, why do you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning? Well, I don't need any motivation. It's like, for me, I'm going to get up, I'm excited about the day, I'm excited about working out and everything, just because that's what fuels me to be better, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think so many people want that end result, but they don't want to put the work in between.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's like when people say, hey, like for business and stuff, right? It's a lot of people don't, I think, have the whatever it takes mentality. So a lot of people, like anyone that ever works for me, and I know it's the same for Ryan, I believe, is if anyone comes to me and they're working for me and they want to go start their own business, great, I'm like, applaud, right? I want you to make more money, I want you to be successful, but so many people say, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but they never step out because there's that element of risk, right? And they want security, but they want the end result of whatever else. So, and again, it's like not the grass isn't always greener somewhere else, it's where you water, where you put in your time. And for me, it's always been in business or fitness, like it's the whatever it takes mentality. It's not, hey, I know maybe I don't have the money, but I'm going to make payroll, or maybe like this or that. It's never been, well, holy shit, you're going to have shit. No, it's not that. It's because you're betting on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so many people, I think, in life and in business and fitness, they don't believe in themselves enough. But I say, if you don't believe in yourself, you need to find someone else who does. That's probably with you, like your gym, right? You probably have a lot of people. I've heard you talking to like him in here before,
yeah.
right? Hey, let me come. It's because you got to work on your mindset, right?
Absolutely.
And that's the same with fitness, the same with business, same if you're a parent, okay? There's so many questions, but you have to learn and grow. And a lot of those people that we're talking about here aren't working on themselves, right? So if you talk about personal development, you talk about putting in time, like people say, oh man, you go to the gym. Well, for me, if I don't go to the gym in the morning, that's the time that I have to do that to be better, to provide value and service to my family, to others. And it's, hey, why I do it, it's before they're up, right? So it's not being selfish, it's not, hey, it's done, but I need that. And so if it's like 2 days and I don't do that, I always like, get to the friggin', like,
Yeah.
because you need that to provide that to my employees and be valuable to everyone else, so.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of to talk, I mean, that's an incredible transformation that you had from where you were to where you are now. And to kind of touch on that, I've had the privilege of, or we've had the privilege of, learning more about you and reading some of your articles. And you talk about the power of, that transformation, but more importantly, what it's done for you as a father.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean to you to be able to be the best and most elite version of yourself for your kids?
I think it's important, and like, I know we touch on like dad bod myth and all this other stuff, but for me, I think when you have kids, right, it's totally different. So I don't care if somebody wants to be overweight and stuff, if they're happy, right? If that's them in life and they're happy and they're single, okay? Or they're married but they don't have kids, that's up to you, right? Like as long as you're healthy and happy, if you're overweight, great. But when you have kids, I think it's totally different, okay? Because you have to be the best version of you for them. And it's, you have accountability, you have responsibility. Like I don't want ever my kids, like let's say going to school and I'm the fat dad, right? Like that someone else says, holy crap, like you can't do the things with your kids. And for me, it's much more like, even fitness journey for me, it's not about being big and like this and that. Like people are like, oh, if you want to still compete, like you're gonna have to get to 260 to be on stage at 240, whatever. It's not, my goal is longevity. Absolutely. I want to be here, like I'm 45, I want to be here when I'm 90, right? I want to see my kids married, I want to see their grandkids, I want to live every single element of them. And again, it goes into mindset. So I think it's like, if you're not healthy, you're not being the best version of you, and you're lying to your kids because you're telling them something else and you're not doing it yourself,
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
So it's sort of like, it's almost you're fooling, you're the guy that's like, it's not right. So and it's, again, it's a mentality, it's myth, it's mindset, and it's excuses, that's all it is. And you've settled. So once you've settled at that, and look, I don't care. My brother listens to this, whatever. Like my brother and me are totally different, right? And I want to help him, but I can't rip my head off and put it on his body.
Yeah, you
Okay?
can't force people
Correct.
to do anything.
But he's got twins. He's got another one, and he's 100 plus pounds overweight, right?
Yep.
So, and I'm on him all the time, and it's, hey, I don't have time. Wake up, flip it hours earlier, okay? Or do this or that. So that's the same mentality that I see a lot of time. And then that big article came out and whatever, and said 67% of U.S. now accepts the dad bod as like overweight. And I'm like, well, that's bullcrap, because that just gives another excuse. So if you have kids, I think you have a responsibility. I think you need to be accountable, not only to them, to yourself, and to be the best version of you, because they're going to, like, whether they're 1, 2, 14, they're going to mirror everything you do.
For sure.
They have ears, they have eyes, they see everything, right? And everything's internalized and then taken out. So
I don't have kids myself, but I heard another mom
Yeah.
say something, a girl named Rachel Hollis, I don't know if you've heard of her, but like kids looking up to their parents, and parents are telling their kids, like, you can be whatever you want to be and achieve whatever you want, and the kid looks back at their parent and they're like, well, why aren't you?
correct.
Why aren't you?
100%.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And then the other thing is too, is on the food side, right? If you're saying, hey, you can't have McDonald's and this, and you're shoving your face full of freaking fast food, that's the biggest like critic, right? Like,
What's wrong with that?
yeah, well,
I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding.
now if we go through like Chick-fil-A and stuff, it's like in my car we have the fry tax, or the, like, they have to get extra, right? But
Yeah.
to
I
pay
love
me.
it.
But from that
Love
standpoint,
it.
you're 100% right. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
I think like hey, you're telling them you can be whatever you want to be and all this, and hey, the amount of money and stuff. At some point, they understand, right?
Yeah.
And then there's also comparison, like, hey, my daddy can beat up your daddy, sort of that syndrome
Oh, yeah.
when you see it at school. And I think that, again, it's, you have a responsibility to be the best version of you. If you're being the best version of you, and that's because you have some imbalance or whatever, then great. But you don't have to be the guy with the six pack, or the lady like with friggin' perfect physique. But you have to have a mentally healthy, strong mind. And I say sound body, right? Those two things together provide the best version of you for your kids. So I don't want to be the dad that can't take his shirt off at the pool or whatever from, like, with my kids. And that's, again, since I've had them, I've got 3 different ages. I'm a little bit, as you know, 19, 15, and 3. So spread out. But it's been fun. So
Awesome.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. So there was a couple points that you made there, and you talked a little bit about the physical transformation, but you really, really hit home on the mental transformation. So I just want to reiterate a little bit of that, because that is something that is just so often overlooked. When people want to lose weight or they want to go through this transformation, they're just always focusing on the physical benefits that they're going to get, they're going to get shredded abs, they want to look good in a bikini. But I always talk about like the mental benefits that you're going to get and how that's translated it into all other areas of your life.
I think the mental comes before the physical, right? It has
Yes,
to.
it has,
So-
yeah.
It stems from the mindset.
Correct, and that's the biggest thing, like even in my mid-30s, so I was doing personal development before. I've been involved like in a bunch of network marketing and stuff. Not a bunch of companies, just one other company, but for a long time, right? So that was my first sort of iteration into a lot of personal development. And ever since that time, since late 90s, whatever, is when I paid a lot more attention. But to me, like an avid book reader, so I try to take in a lot, listen to audiobooks all the time in the car. Anytime that I'm filling up, I don't have empty space, right? I don't listen to a lot of music. So when I train, I listen to crazy whatever music. But then if I'm doing my cardio, it's 30 minutes or whatever, it's always audiobook. If I'm in the car and I have an hour drive or whatever it is, it's audiobook. And then like I have certain, I won't call it rituals, but things that I do just for like in the morning I wake up, right? I do certain things, okay, my gratitude, all that stuff, but I read, right? And then again, don't have phone time, try to keep, that's been the hardest thing for me, like before I go to the gym,
All of us,
distractions,
yes.
etc.
Absolutely.
And so a lot of books, a lot of it as well is getting into masterminds. So that's been a key for me. My past businesses, I've always had people that have had more experience, had more money, had more just different things, right? This business has been a little bit different because it's not all the C-level executives and stuff. It's a lot of like kitchen and stuff like that. So for the first time, it wasn't me, and I felt like, I don't know if you read John Maxwell or whatever, but he talks about a lot of the lid. And you hit that lid, right? You can't go any higher. So for me, that's when I got back into more masterminds.
Yeah.
Hired a personal coach again. So I still, to this day, I'm once a week with a personal coach. It's an investment for me.
I'm a 100% believer in
That's
having a
100%.
coach. Yeah.
You gotta have somebody to keep you accountable.
And again, it's not just one coach. Like for me, I have one coach that's basically a life business
Yeah.
coach. And then again, I've had coaches for fitness, right? Like even just the last show I didn't do my own diet, even though I've done my own diets all the time. I I put trust in someone else.
It's hard to hold yourself accountable, and I think a lot of us like to think that we can hold ourselves accountable, but realistically, we need someone outside.
Yeah, that's I think a lot of us tell ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So we have to break down that ego piece, and once you break down that ego piece, it's a lot better to be a better version of you. The other thing I think a lot of us do, including me way back, was I always wanted to wait till something was perfect, right? And my saying has been for a long time, there's no ever perfect moment. I say better is perfect, okay? If you can make better, if you're working on yourself every single day, like any little piece of being better, that is perfect. It's never going to be perfect, right? So there's no perfect time. There's no perfect time to have kids. There's no perfect time to get the best body, right? There's no perfect time to start a new business. It's just, you gotta start. You gotta move forward and take action. The biggest thing as well is half these people get frozen by fear because they don't take action. And
I love that.
you got to take action to just make it happen and start believing in yourself.
So for someone looking to make a transformation, whether it be with their health, whether it be with their business, their relationship, whatever area of life they're wanting to transform, what advice would you give? Would it be just to not wait for the right time, just go in and start it, or do you have any advice you would give for someone?
I think, again, there's no right time for anything, right? Because life throws us lots of different things at all different times, so I think you just have to take action. But I think it's different from a relationship standpoint, maybe to a business, to transformation. The first thing I'd say is, like, if it's fitness and you're the one that wants to do fitness, right, you need to make sure who are you surrounding yourself. That's business too, but who are you surrounding yourself with, right? Like for me, the business is surrounding myself with people that make more money than me, have more experience than me, and like that's your circle of influence, right? And then if you look at fitness, if you're sitting around with a bunch of guys, let's say like that are drinking beer and like, I don't drink beer, but like just sitting around all the time, going out to the bars, but never going to the gym, well guess what? You typically, it's the same thing, how you make the same amount of money except blah, blah, blah. But so again, your circle, right? I'm sure if you're single and you're in friggin' a circle of people that it's just all married couples or whatever, maybe you don't have the best, I don't know, it's been a long time for me, right? So, but, so from that standpoint, again, that's what I'd say first. And then looking at where you are and then evaluating yourself. And so I did a video this morning, I'll post it tonight, but it's like, I ask people in life, are you playing checkers or are you playing chess? And I don't know if, like, so many people are playing, in my mind, checkers where they're moving back and forth, right? They're moving, you jump, but when you're playing chess, you have a strategy, right? You have a team, okay? You have pawns, you have rooks, you have the queen, you have the king, and all of them serve a different function. So in your life, are you implementing strategy? Are you really just jumping and sort of after you've taken the checkers off the table, hey, congratulations, you dominated, and okay, what do? We reset the checkerboard. But in chess, there's a strategy, and the end thing is check, and at the end of the game, checkmate, right? So again, I think a lot of people just go through those motions without really having an end. So someone comes into fitness, okay, and they go through the motions. They say, well, don't friggin' go to the gym if you're just going to go do your 10 reps and stuff. What's your goal? Whether it's a PR, right? Is it adding more weight is it transforming something? Because if you're doing the same things over and over, it's probably the same with dating. If you're on looking for a mate and the same sort of, maybe it's not the right person, right? But you just keep going through those same kind of
you don't
qualities.
Evaluate yourself and things that are going wrong, you just fall into the same patterns over and over again.
I think that's the same with business as well. Like so many people go to a job with an idea of starting their own business, but they never do the steps because they become comfortable. And comfort is just, like I say, comfort is like, it's mediocrity, right? It's a disease, okay?
Absolutely.
And when you get stuck in that rut, it's harder to get out of that. So all those things that we talked about, like the circle, if you're stuck in that rut and you're in the wrong circle, you're never going to get out of it. You're like that hamster on the wheel, right? If you're playing checkers and you never learn strategy in chess, then you don't have anything to move forward with. So it all ties, I think, hand in hand. But again, we talked about the mind, and that mind is the biggest key, right? So
absolutely.
I love that analogy.
Well, a lot of that, I mean, this isn't really a question, it's more of a statement. If y'all disagree, let me know. But, it all stems from a mindset. And if you don't have it between the ears, you're not going to be able to function at any level whatsoever throughout the day. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I think that's correct. Like, what you're putting into that mind, right, is the key. So what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you evaluate. Again, it goes back to being a parent as well. What you take in is going to come into your kids as well, right? So I think it's 100% working on your mind. The mind's, I think, the one thing that you need to work on the most and continually try to evolve and better.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's different for you and I, or all three of us, because we all have a health, fitness, wellness background. And so it's working out for us is routine, eating healthy for us is routine. But for people out there who are listening to this, maybe more on the business side of things, who maybe aren't as active as we are, what is the importance for you, at least in your life? We talked about this mindset. How does mindset make you that elite version of yourself or that warrior in your business life?
Sure, I think just to step back one thing first, like when we say about diet and stuff, right? I think diet ties into your mindset, because if you're not taking the proper nutrients and foods into your mind, you're not going to be right? And the second thing I say to a lot of people, and Rachel, this is your background as well. Like I wrote an article on this. I said, like, it's all about what's in your blood, right? Like people say, hey, I need to get this diet, and then there's so many gurus out there, self-reported now, right? Hey, take this diet, take this diet. Yeah. There's keto, there's paleo, whatever, right? Who cares? Everything, it's whatever diet works for you. You know this, but exactly. I say before that, go get a blood test, right? Like understand what's inside you, because a lot of things that are going to make you better in business stem from hormones and different imbalances and stuff. So when people want to start a new business, or they're stuck in a rut, right? Or they're stuck in a diet, or they're stuck even like maybe in a relationship, but they don't understand what's going on inside them, I say that's the first part of taking care of what I call your wellness.
Absolutely.
Then you can implement different things, because as you know, hey, gut issues or what food, but again, if you have a hormone imbalance, maybe it's not your fault that you're not having energy and you're not, it's not just because you're not motivated, it's just because you can't get motivated because of whatever, right? And so there's a lot of different things, and again, going forward, I think that is key. Then taking on the diet part, because the diet part is part of it, what makes you successful, I think, in business and other things. And it's, again, I don't feel motivated, and I don't feel like going and killing in the gym when I eat a bunch of crap food half the time, right?
I don't think any of us do.
But again, once you get on that track, I feel much better eating clean the way I do and knowing what I need to do to get my maximum results in different things. That's another thing as well. Like we're sitting near water, but I know it's not the core focus, but 3/4 of the world doesn't drink enough water, right?
Just to even, as simple as that, yeah.
But that's a big thing that I notice, even for being motivated, for the mindset and different things as well. So
yeah. So let's do this. Let's totally unscripted here.
Yeah.
This is not anywhere else. Let's do some random questions.
Sure.
Let's get to know you more, just random.
Awesome.
Oh, you start these.
I'll start. Okay, so
yeah.
If you had $1 million cash, handed to you right now across the table. Don't say I'm going to save it, I'm going to put it in my 401k, whatever. You're going to buy something. What are you going to buy first?
For me, it wouldn't be buying. I think it'd be putting in a couple different elements of different charity things that I would do.
What charity?
Into a church. We do a lot with also the Boys and Girls Club.
Awesome.
So a big believer in Boys and Girls Club. We do another thing with Kids Shouldn't Have Cancer. So there's a couple of different events that we are sponsors and have been chairs of and stuff. So that's where that money would go. I just, again, find more value. When we talk about, like, for me, I told you early on, it's a little bit longevity.
Yeah.
So monetary component's great, and I grew up and again, I love all the material possessions, but once I had kids, it's totally different for me. It's about what value I can provide for my kids. Like my 19-year-old, he's lived a different life. He's like been on more private jets and different things. He's been playing junior hockey since he was little. He's lived in Connecticut. He's actually playing for up in South Dakota right now for North American Hockey League team, like just below NHL. But again, I've been able to provide that for him, right? My daughter,
awesome.
Crazy dance all the time. My little guy, who knows? I'm just like, I don't know if I want him in a hockey rink for the next 15 years. I told my wife, hey, he needs to surf and snowboard so he can go wherever. But again, it's about that, right? So it's about what kind of, and for me, it's now that I call it a little bit older, it's all about experiences, okay? I've had the big houses, like the crazy houses and stuff, and it's funny because when you have like a big house, you don't use half the damn house and this and that. And it's like, do I really need this, right? Or is it like cars and stuff? If you're a car guy or a person, that's awesome, and those are all great. And again, at certain levels, those material objects are just the same thing as like a friggin', I don't know, I'm gonna insult someone, like a Prius or something, right? It's all just, it's relative, okay? As you build your business and as you build so for me, it's about experiences. Like, I want the memories, right?
Absolutely.
And like, I have the 19-year-old, 15-year-old, but it's different. Like the 3-year-old, like, there's certain things I wish I'd done at my 19 or 15-year-old because I was so focused on money that I missed out on certain things. Not like bad dad or anything, but just things that I want experiences, right? Absolutely. So it goes back to experiences. If I can provide value, and to me, work in building wealth is really to be able to provide value to someone else, experiences or build something else for other people.
I love that. Go ahead. You're up next.
So I got to throw out a random question then as well too. Okay, so cheat meal. Favorite cheat meal if you could eat anything.
Yeah, so I'm a big burger guy.
Burger guy.
Yeah, burger or sushi, but
That's
mostly
cheap.
burger. So
burger
and then cheesecake. That's pretty simple. So not the big flamboyant all this food. So
Okay. What is your favorite
So
pre-workout?
from a pre-workout, I said, I think I'm taking right now from Believe Supplements. It's called Pump Action or something. Also, I take a lot of, I love the first form, so I take Project One. That's one of my favorites. And I'm, again, pretty simple guy, right? So one
Yeah.
scoop, or the old school, coffee. So,
The old school
yeah,
coffee, I love it.
just depends.
Black coffee, huh?
There you go.
No cream sugar?
Oh, I'm the exact same. Just getting black coffee. No
Good to
pre-workout
go.
for me.
Okay.
Yeah, just straight up caffeine.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so a lot of people watching this know I'm a nutritionist
Yep.
and I write custom nutrition plans for a lot of my clients. And I can write someone a perfect nutrition plan, but it always comes down to them following it and
Yeah.
actually implementing the steps and following through with the nutrition. And oftentimes, preparation is the hardest part for most people, just trying to find the time to grocery shop, to meal prep, to portion out their foods. So that's why I love Icon Meals, because it essentially just takes all the work out of it for you. So I want to hear a little bit more about Icon Meals,
Sure.
because you've done so many different things with it, and I know it just continues to expand with, it's not even just for bodybuilders, you now do for families, and you're coming out with a couple new products. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, for us, when we started Icon, it's really, any business that I had really has to have two things. Say one, recurring revenue or residual, right? And to me, food is recurring because everyone eats 5 to 7 days. It's not like a supplement where it's discretionary income and you're buying it once a month. And the second thing is you have to have a solution to a problem. And the solution for us is really convenience, right? Everyone lives busy, hectic lifestyle. And so from that factor, it does tie into, hey, meal prep and stuff where, I don't know, I used to spend 2 to 3 hours meal prepping, but I was also very picky, right? I didn't want all these different ingredients and things in my meals.
Yeah.
And so for us, it was about being able to build custom meals with specific macros, but then we also got into building signature meals. My partner Danny, he was the head chef at the Omni Hotels. So again, been in the culinary industry for a long time. Put him up against anyone as far as recipes and culinary skill set stuff. So again, that's how we got together. And from that standpoint, again, providing that convenience element, right? When you say, so people that start believing, hey, we're just a fitness, right? And fitness for us is a vertical. So I think it was, again, that's a sort of segment that we came in from. So
Yeah.
that's why we started in there. But it isn't our core revenue driver. Our core revenue driver is really families and busy executives that travel. So if you're, let's say you're based in Dallas, and you're going to San Diego for the week, we can ship your meals, they'll show up ahead of time in your hotel. You can still entertain, have your drinks and stuff, but you can stay on point, right? So the majority of our business is actually shipped. So Texas is our #1 state, and then it goes California, it goes, I think, Florida, New York, and some other places. But again, we ship all over the country, 24 hours overnight for next day. So again, that element of convenience. And whether it's, I don't know, maybe you're a busy executive woman and you have 3 kids and you're going pick up the kids from soccer, you can come home and put Icon Meals on paper plates and feed the soccer team.
Yeah.
Or you could have it ready for, I don't know, your partner or whatever, on bone china, and it's chef prepared, same meal, but again, heat it up within 1 to 3 minutes. We do family style, so serving sizes of 4 to 6, a la carte. Maybe, I don't know, dad comes home and he wants to feel like he's cooking, well, you can put the chicken or whatever on, whatever, right? So there's different options. We have a kids option, and again, getting into a lot of more functional foods, so snacks.
Yeah.
More with clean ingredient decks. Yeah, we do have, our protein popcorn's been one of our big things.
Popcorns are
Yeah.
obviously
right.
huge.
Yeah, and then from there we've got a lot of other things. So the high protein chips, we've got cookies, we've got high protein coffee coming out, which is going to be a little bit interesting. It's got nootropic and stuff in it. We got some other goodies, so we won't announce everything, but we get another big one about to drop. We just launched our flavoring, so seasonings. Everyone was using different seasonings on our meals, so we've come up with 7 flavors, have another 5 dropping next week. And so yeah, a lot of different things, but again, going back to helping and providing value to people that live busy lifestyles, right? And
Yeah.
whether you're in the car or whether you're at home. So it's really been good for us. And tying into diet plans, we work with a ton of trainers and stuff that, again, makes it simple, right? They just prescribe the diet or they send over the meal plan. And again, you can pick different options, so you can have custom meals built to specific portions. Let's say you tell someone
Yeah.
it's 4 ounces, it's this and that. Or they can pick from our signature menu, which we
Yeah.
rotate. We do 4 weekly menus that are pre-packaged, pre-portioned. So different things like lasagnas and, I don't know, you got burgers and you have protein pancakes and stuff. But again, a little bit more tasty, somewhat higher macros, just depending. But again, all the ingredients, all the macros are there. So if you give someone a macro plan or a diet, they can fit them in based on.
Yeah, and that's
what they
exactly
need.
how I've used it, is I'll create my clients custom nutrition plans, and I'll give them how many ounces of protein that they want, you know, how many ounces of carbohydrates, whether it be potato, rice,
Yeah.
quinoa, and then they, get essentially build what meals they want. They
Yeah.
get to pick if they want chicken, do they want salmon, do they want beef, what type of vegetables, what type of carbs, and then they just order them and they can get them shipped to their home. Let's say if they don't have time to prep that week, or when they're traveling. That's how I've used it. Like I like cooking, so I'll do that most of the time when I'm at home. But like when I'm traveling, I went to Jackson Hole not too long ago, and I shipped out all my meals, shipped out some Icon meals to have me, and it was waiting there on the front doorstep right when I got there, and I had all my meals for the weekend.
We've got a lot of people that actually take it internationally, so even though we can't ship because of restrictions,
Yeah.
like Michael Hearn just came back from Italy, he was doing expo guest appearance, and he took like 84 meals, checked them as luggage, so we freeze them ahead of time,
Smart man.
checked them as luggage, pay 25 bucks a box, and they come down the luggage cart, and we've had a lot of different people do that, so it's funny to see pictures all over the place, like in the Bahamas and the islands, and
Yeah.
we've had Australia and stuff, people with Icon meals, so it's been good, but
Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, we talked about a lot of good stuff
Yeah.
today, but on a closing note, want to ask you, and for everybody watching this and listening to this, what would you leave somebody with, kind of, like I said, on the ending note, some motivation, just for, whether it be health, fitness, wellness, lifestyle, anything you got right off the top
Sure.
right now, what do you got for them?
yeah, I think the first thing I'd say is like you have to believe in yourself, right? So wherever you are, okay, it's relationship, it's fitness, it's whatever, you need to believe in yourself, and if you don't believe in yourself, you need to find someone else that does, right? And again, start that right. The second thing I say is you got to take action. So wherever you are, you think you're stuck, you're only stuck because it's that mindset portion, right? You got to take action to get out of that rut, or to move forward on a new business, to start your transformation. If you don't take action, you're not moving anywhere forward, you're not going to evolve. And then I say the third piece is you got to add personal development in. So if you're already doing personal development, great. Look at what area you can expand, right? And I think never stop learning. So the minute you stop learning and stop taking in, you start to stagnate, right?
Yeah.
And stagnation is the worst thing for your mind, for your body. It's like, hey, we stop working out, all of a sudden, hey, we're like Tin Man again. But it's the same with our mind, right? So again, I think those are the 3 or 4 key pieces, but like the belief, the taking action, the personal development, and then just sort of, I say never look back, like, because you're not going backwards.
Absolutely.
So don't worry about like what other people think, anything like that, right? For me, it's sort of what I always say, if I'm focused on something, it's blinders on. So it's like the horse, right? It's running down the track. Why do they put the blinders on? Because they're not looking to the side. It doesn't matter. They have one core focus, and that's driving forward. I think that's in life. You're driving forward. Don't worry about the past. Don't worry about who's in your side. Because those things, you got to ask yourself, are they going to really make a difference 5 minutes down the road, a week down the road? No. It's like different things that are trying to get you off that track, right? And you don't need to be. So just blinders on, core focus, move forward.
I love it.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's motivating the hell out of me. I'm ready for a workout now. Yeah.
So I'm about to do after this.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, a lot of incredible information that you shared with us here today, Todd, and I know a lot of our audience is going to really get a lot out of this. So where can people find you?
Sure. For me personally, it's at Todd Abrams, so IG, Facebook, Twitter. Most active, I guess, on Instagram. And then also for Icon Meals, it's at Icon Meals across everything. If you guys are looking for some good tasty stuff, just follow us on IG. So there's lots of pictures, lots of different promos and stuff.
Sweet.
Yeah, so that's where you can find me.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, we appreciate you
Yeah,
coming
awesome.
on today.
Thanks, Todd.
Thanks guys for having me.
Yeah,
It's great.
you're very welcome.
Thank you.